Welcome back, everybody, to the adventures of Warmer here in Crusader Kings II, or Varma, I suppose would probably be the correct way to pronounce that one. First things first, then, I should apologize for the first episode of this series having the soundtrack being just way too loud. On my preview, it actually looked alright. When I did the sound test, it was okay. I neglected to think of the fact that there was a lot of metal soundtrack released for this game as additional DLC, and of course when they start kicking in, it's absolutely booming compared to the regular CK2 soundtrack, so that was completely my bad there. I have adjusted it for today, so it should be a little bit better. Second thing to mention is on the tea review, which we do on the Elysian Sam channel, Red Demon very kindly gifted us a Lovecraftian cocktails book, alcoholic cocktails that is, of which we have sampled many. So I'm not operating at 100% capacity, shall we say, for this particular episode of Crusader Kings. But of course, because the new RimWorld series taking up a lot of my time, I missed the episode yesterday, and I want to make sure we've got an episode for today, regardless of what obstacles ROM-based may stand in my way. On the subject of obstacles, of course, this is a tutorial series, so I will be going into a little bit more detail, at least to start off with for the first few episodes, for those of you trying to get into Crusader Kings, just in case I do more Crusader Kings content in the future. I did also leave a comment on the first episode saying that if people were interested, I would do a UI kind of tutorial overview, kind of going through what all the different elements mean. A few people seem very interested in that. I will do that episode when I'm less, when I have a more clear mind, shall we say, for that one, because that one will require a bit more kind of minutia and analyzing of various different things. But for the most part, I will try and explain it as we go along here, so it will be a little bit slower for those of you who have played a lot of Crusader Kings in the past. But we have the most important event of all here. For dinner tonight, I will be having deviled eggs. What should be stuffed in these eggs, I wonder? My cook will make them taste good regardless of what's inside them. Shall we go for vegetables, meat, or milk, cream, and cheese, all of which give us a different outcome here? This is added by one of the very many mods I have in this mod pack. I did say this on the Steam Workshop page. I wouldn't recommend this mod pack for a first-time playthrough. It's very event-heavy, very options-heavy to give someone like me who's played it for nearly 4,000 hours at this point many new different options to keep things fresh and unique. So we've got the option of taking vegetables here, which gives us, has a 25% chance to give us the trait Temperate, along with giving us the modifier Eats Good Food, giving us diplomacy and health. Temperate isn't necessarily a bad trait. Now, there is kind of 7 traits, Temperate being one of them, which are the virtues, and then 7 other traits being the sins, gluttony being the opposite to temperate. You can't have temperate and gluttonous at the same time. Similarly, we have, as you can see denoted by that 4 there, the 4th virtue, which is diligence. The opposite of that one, the deadly sin of that one being sloth. We have greed, the opposite of that being charitable, etc., etc. Now, for us being a Norse character, that doesn't really matter too much, because it's only really relevant if you are a Christian. So we can really go for whatever we want, whatever has the best outcome here. Our character, bearing in mind we are doing a kind of roleplay experience here too, where based on that Dungeons & Dragons backstory generator I've linked in the description, we're building characters based on that, as close as I can get as part of the challenge. Our guy is all about warfare. His backstory was basically entirely on warfare. His origin was all about warfare. In this situation, I feel like meat to strengthen him is appropriate. Going for neither temperate or gluttonous there as well. There still gives us the eating good food effect, lasting until the 21st of December 772, so a good 6 months of that. Health plus 0.2. I was just about to mention, our health is actually in a very bad position right now. By default, and as kind of a rule of thumb, characters in Crusader Kings will have roughly 5 health, around 5 health on average. Oh, that's so good. We'll talk about that in a second. We'll have kind of on 5 health on average. There are a lot of traits, a lot of events, as we just had, that can affect that. Our guy, from our first ever duel here, got -2 because of an infected wound, and the wound itself gives a -1, taking us to, again on average, about 2 health. That means that the lower the health, the more chance you have to die at a random point. And of course, if you had 0 health, you'd be very likely to die as the days tick by. Every day that ticks, you've got, you know, a chance for that particular event to fire. A lot of Crusader Kings 2 background events take place on something called mean time to happen, which is just, again, kind of a random chance for it to fire. Having -3 health to kick things off is really, really bad. Don't get me wrong. But that will help out a little bit. We might be okay. You know, we're a relatively healthy 33-year-old guy. The chance of us dying is definitely present, but not my biggest worry right now. And more importantly, our intense study of warfare has led to an increased understanding of tactics and strategy. So because we've taken that warfare focus, we've upgraded our core education. And this trait here, this skilled tactician, is what you get when you, I believe it's turn 16 in this game, right? Depending on how you're educated, your traits, the choices that your guardian, your educator, will choose for you as well. All characters in the game have an education trait. So our wife is Midas touched. A state like this character, she's also Midas touched. One of our other concubines is Thrifty Clerk. And those will go between rank 1 up to rank 4 for each of the major 5 skills, not including personal combat. So that has just upgraded us from Skilled Tactician, the level 3 perk, to Brilliant Strategist, the level 4 perk, and all the benefits that come with that. And in fact, oh man, I thought that gave us a health bonus then, but no, I'm completely misreading it. So we get the same health bonus. We get 5 to our personal combat skill, but the more important thing is our martial bonus is much, much higher. I won't lie, 20 martial. Oh, look at that. That couldn't have been any more perfect timing. 20 martial is very, very good for a character. I feel better. We lose the trait Infection. Could this be the redemption arc for Warmer Av Nordland? Not gonna die in episode 2, no sir. Your daily routine involves repeatedly swinging blades and a training dummy. However, you can only learn so much from fighting an inanimate enemy, and the practice gets dreadful after a while. We could use someone to train with. Toka. My good friend Toka. Again, he has naive appease, a level 1 of the diplomacy trait. Not a very good warrior, 6 personal combat, but sure, maybe he would be up for giving us a battle. Now, he is also an elder, and that's worth bearing in mind because our succession type is an eldership, as in the elders get to vote on who becomes the new ruler of the county. So, becoming close friends with this guy is a massive benefit, and also, why wouldn't we? I don't see why we wouldn't want to be close friends with this guy. Oh, look at that. The wound is healed as well, leaving a pretty grotesque scar behind. You might think that's a bad thing, but scars come with a certain amount of prestige. You're a warrior, as our guy is, of course, based on his random backstory there. That is quite prestigious. 0.1 monthly prestige per month. Very happy to have that. And more importantly... Oh, shit. More importantly, we are now pretty healthy. We do count as grievously scarred, though, from our many battles and duels that we have... we've messed up. Then, of course, our duel against our wife, the duel against, I can't remember his name now. The first guy we fought, of course, with Mjolnir, randomly. Not an ideal start, I will admit, but we came out of it very, very well. But it was a bit risky. Look, we've got 24 martial. Bear in mind, wounded and, infection as well will lower your traits. You can't be expected to be a good commander or a good fighter if you are infected. I'm going to skip over this song because there's lyrics, which kind of make it a little harder to hear me. Many warriors have gathered in the Great Hall tonight. So this is a society event for our wolf warriors. Many warriors have gathered in the Great Hall tonight. The dinner has started and I already feel eager to test my mettle against one of them. It has been some time since we had a good fleeting. And there are plenty of candidates known for their crude manners and their sharp tongue for me to choose from. So a fleeting is a, kind of a verbal duel, so to speak. Do we want to go for nobody but the best speaker? This guy is a poet. He's also got 11 diplomacy. What are we looking at here? 0 diplomacy. Okay, that's a bit of a gamble. Goldie Scully looks like a good match for me. Goldie being his rank. He has 9 diplomacy. He is also a scholar. I want an easy fight. Our guy, I will admit, is a bit of a blockhead. He's got very, very good personal combat for the time being. Bear in mind, he's got brilliant strategist. You know, he's scarred. He's deceitful. He's brave. He's got a lot of experience. We picked it up pretty fast there. Dueling our wife comes with some benefits. Who could have guessed? But our diplomacy and our learning is pretty terrible. I think we want an easy fight rather than going for the gamble. So we're going to go for Elfgeir, who also has 2 diplomacy. He's a bit of a blockhead like us. I want an easy fight. I stand up and shout Elfgeir's name in the dining hall, catching many warriors' attention and challenge him to a fleeting. Now, I only need to decide what subject will cut deeper under Elfgeir's skin. So we now need to pick something we want to upset him with. We're trying to prove that we are not only big and strong and have good muscles, but also we are strong of our mind muscle. The brain. Ancient legends tell of a time a lady last called you a man. We can insult his loving prowess. This kind of insult tends to work well against a lustful opponent. He is not lustful. It is telling how much eager you are to play word games over proper fights. That works against envious and shy opponents. He is neither envious nor shy. How does it feel to be the black sheep of your dynasty? That's a low blow. We're going to insult his dynasty there, so we lose prestige for that. That works against ambitious and proud. Well, he's neither ambitious nor proud. Or we can say, how does it feel to be the disgrace of your dynasty? We insult his family, we lose piety for that one. That works against kind opponents. He is kind. This guy is actually a nice guy. We're being a bit of a dick here. Patient, kind, brave, and humble. I think we've lost this one just based on the fact this guy is humble. All of these traits, all of these different personality things will affect the outcome of this duel. Duel of words, of course. How does it feel to be the disgrace of your dynasty, Alfgeir? Alfgeir decides to take the cheap shot of my father, claiming he has heard many tales of his cowardice. That's so mean of you, Alfgeir. You hear the crowd snickering at you. We spar with words for a while, but soon Alfgeir's face grows red with rage and embarrassment, surrounded by the laughter of other warriors. Unable to put together a coherent response, he is clearly lost the fleeting. We won. Congratulations. Stop being such a child. Alfgeir may challenge you to a duel for insulting him. We gain 10 renown in the society, which is kind of your society currency. Shows how good you are, but you can also expend it as well. Or it was all good fun, Alfgeir. Don't be so mad. We could be a good winner and gain 10 prestige. But if we take that duel and we beat him in a duel, he's a higher rank than us too. That could be a way to earn even more prestige. He's got 32 personal combat. We've got 49. Our backstory that we randomized with that D&D generator said that we love warfare. So I'm gonna double down on it. We're gonna try and see if he'll take us up on a duel. It looks as if he wasn't bothered. Absolutely no response at all there. What a coward. My subjective opinions have always given me more praise than criticism. So these are just a random event based on our traits here. In this case, because we are arbitrary, but also a fairly okay ruler, we get some prestige for it. Arbitrary isn't necessarily good, but if you are arbitrary and your realm loves you, you can't argue against that, right? The Germanic Church's men are not always easy to deal with. I need to make sure I have their blessing, and I have both my wife Sigrid and my seer Bothilda Struger giving me advice on how to earn their approval. Struger, sorry. Sigrid, our wife that, by the way, hates us. Is that our wife, Sigrid? I thought so. Our wife that hates us is offering us advice on learning, which will give Temple Vassal Opinion +5. So any religious vassals, so landed characters in our realm, will gain 5 opinion of us. People who own churches, that type of thing. Which we can always find out by clicking that button. And as you will notice, we have no vassals at all, because we're just a guy who owns a bit of land in the middle of Scandinavia. There's an 80% chance we gain content. Now, I would argue content isn't a very good trait. For a guy who is a warrior by kind of backstory, a guy who is very much about prestige and fighting, content doesn't really suit him. Or, Bothilda Struger suggests I scare them into submission. We can tell our wife to fuck off and gain 10 prestige. And given that our wife hates us and beat us in a duel, I'm alright with that. Fuck off, wife. They say the video games appeal to the male fantasy, huh? Oh, we can rank up in our society. Incredible. So, when you get enough renown, you have the opportunity, in this case 750, to go to the next rank. Now, we're fledgling, giving us 0.25 months prestige, gives us the ability to duel, appoint shield maidens, makes us more resilient to battle injuries, gives us new events on the field of battle, and it gives us the ability to go berserk. We can go beyond that and become a warrior. So not only do we have all of those previous powers, we gain some new things too. When leading armies and sieging holdings, we have a greater chance to capture enemies and loot artifacts, which would be massive. We get to take some warrior training and summon a good commander for us to maybe make a marshal or something like that. Before we do that, though, we have that power to go berserk. Enables right-clicking on your own characters to give you the berserker trait. As a member of the Wolf Warriors, you can go on a rampage through your village, note that someone might get hurt. Warm gains the berserker trait, giving us +4 martial, -2 diplomacy, +25 personal combat, and +10 same opinion. Bear in mind that random backstory we got. I feel like this is very appropriate. This action is bound to affect your personality. We gain the trait Wrath as well. And we also gain 150 opinions, so Wrath will add other things along with that berserker trait. I'm going to roll with it, for sure. That was our guy screaming there. Give me your axe now! I roar to recruit. The young boy obeys, and the crowd around me gasps as I start swinging it around me. Some scrambling to get out of my way. Warmer, what are you doing? My fellow member of the Wolf Warriors, Orca, yells in despair, clutching. and his bloody tunic. Elder Orca there. Ah, by Odin! You're a small sacrifice for my new gained strength. We gain 15 prestige, we gain the trait Berserker, and we kill Elder Orca. Or we say, whose blood is this? We gain the trait Kind, we gain the trait Berserker, but we're a bit regretful over what we've done. You know what? Based on that backstory that I've been behooved into, Orca, you're dead, my friend. Orca has been hawked. We've gutted him. And in exchange, we've gained far new power. Or far more power, I should say. Far more new power. Wrath trait. Giving us another +3 personal combat. Another +3 martial. It's very good for a martial character. 72 personal combat and 31 martial. There used to be a time in very early CK2 that getting any stat over 20 was incredibly rare. But I think it's a way to balance Scandinavia, particularly early Scandinavia too, when we are lower on technology. We don't have those armored knights. We don't have these great big kingdoms that France have. It is... I mean, bear in mind, this guy's got 2,500 men. He's got all these artifacts, these bloodlines, etc. We're just a dude up here in Scandinavia, right? Going all in on martial is an interesting way to balance it, but it makes us very formidable when you min-max things. 666 troops is a little bit cursed. I suppose it would be if we were Christian, right? And we're just about to come out of debt too, which is quite nice. Ah! And finally, a babby is formed. Our wife, despite hating us, has become pregnant with, in theory, our child. I've had a good friend in Toka, and it saddens me to the heart to think that he no longer has anything in common with me, and the differences between us are too great an obstacle to get over. I no longer see you as my friend, Toka told me. We can either say, I will miss you, and let him go gracefully, or we can say, if you don't want me as your friend, then you are my rival. And given that our guy is a berserker, he's wrathful, he's arbitrary, and deceitful, I think that's the better option here. Warmer and Toka are no longer friends, but are in fact rivals. And you know what? I'm going to put you on my hit list, my friend. We could duel him because he's our rival. Should we go for it? He's got 6 personal combat. He has dishonored us. We have 72. We could crush this man. And you know what? I'm going to do it. Let's see if he'll accept. Elder Toka has chosen to accept your challenge in the personal combat. The duel will take place in the next few days. You are a fool. I'm going to annihilate you. And my god, we did. My opponent looks nervous, his armor a little ill-fitting, and I briefly contemplate asking if he would rather not do this another day. A moment later, I snap out of it, letting the fresh morning air sharpen my senses instead. The staunch man is soon on the ground, groaning in pain. I walk away victorious. We win the duel and get 100 prestige and a duel victory, giving us plus 0.2 monthly prestige for a year, almost. Elder Toka gains the trait severely injured, and our duel experience increases. When we get enough duel experience, it will give us some other nice little bonuses, but it will generally just give us personal combat. Or we say, I've been waiting for this, you filthy snake. And we kill him. People will be upset about this merciless action. All of the other outcomes are more or less the same, but if we do that, we gain general opinion -10, tribal vassal opinion +10, and clan sentiment +10. So any of our tribal vassals, if we had any vassals, of course, landowners that are under us, they would respect that because we're ruthless, we're powerful, we're showing how strong that we are as a leader and as a person. For the time being, though, I will walk away victorious, having severely injured the guy. -2 health. Very nice. Look at that, we've got ourselves a little more personal combat. One of your maids has reported that a courtier has left an inappropriate love letter on her bed. She appeals to you to do something about it. Oh, that god. Elder Arngrimmer, again an elder, so he has a lot of sway in our realm, is trying to chat up one of our maids. If we do that, he will be very angry at me for interfering. I'm not interested. I'm happy to lose the piety and let him do what he wants to do. Well, literally in that situation. So what have we got here? You've been at peace for too long. So because we're tribal, and again, as it says there, as a Germanic pagan, you lose 2 prestige every month for being at peace and doing no raiding. Now, we can't really do raiding yet because the Age of Vikings haven't begun. Like I said, that takes place in the kind of mid-9th century as a rule of thumb. We're in the late 8th century now. I chose this one specifically because it's kind of an early, quiet start, you know, all the crazy raiding and the journeys overseas happens a bit later on where we could be a bit more established. We should definitely go and raid, though. We do have Somanesco rulers next to us, people who are a different religion. He's also got treasure, too. What is that? Vipern's a magic scroll. And Terra Viperman is a giant and with considerable knowledge in spells, and this is one of his scrolls. The nature of these spells require a great man to decipher. You can only use that if you follow the Swarmanesco religion there at the bottom. You must also have either Scholar, Mystic, or 15 Learning. We can't use that, but we could take it from him and sell it off, maybe. Or give it to someone as a gift and obviously gain their opinion for... I mean, anybody would be happy to receive a magic scroll. Whether or not they can use it is a different thing entirely. Let's go and do that then. We'll raise our troops as a kind of token raiding process for a little while just to keep them happy, huh? Let's head over here. And maybe we'll be able to get... Actually, can we rank up? Oh, not quite. Well, we went berserk. We still need 3 more renown. I was going to say, if we go over to Reaver, that gives us a higher chance to get relics. So I think what I'm actually going to do is spin our troops around and then go and raid there when we've got that Reaver trait. Because that way we might be able to grab that relic from him. A daughter was born to Warmer and Sigrid named Margareta. She's delicate. This character is frail and prone to injury, but she's also tall. A bit of a beanpole. Margareta Wormsdottir. Nice. For you, for the time being... She's a daughter with a good inheritable trait. Delicate is pretty bad, but it's not terrible. Tall is pretty good, though. There are a lot of male rulers across Scandinavia who would love a tall son. So I think... Let's train her in etiquette. And let's see if we can try and make her into a good diplomat. Somebody worthy of being someone else's wife. Try and forge some alliances there in true medieval style. Margareta, I'm going to rename you. She's delicate and tall. I'm going to call you Beanpola. A true Norse name. There you go. Beanpola Wormsdottir. Excellent. Oh god, what is this? We can also rank up in our societies. We'll look at that in a second. A man is bought in shackles before you. He's a missionary from Lombardy who's been preaching his heretical faith amongst your people. He claims to be on a mission from God and has been caring for the sick in nearby villages. What should be done about this misguided Catholic? We can either say a healer, he shall serve me personally, and honestly, a healer wouldn't be bad after Gandalf yesterday got, well, in the last episode, Gandalf got mangled, remember? Did he survive? Oh no, he's dead as dicks. Or, we say we can't allow Catholics in our realm, burn him. That would annoy King Desiderius. I don't know if I'm saying it right, Desiderius. The King of Lombardy, the guy who has the Iron Crown. Or at least he should have the Iron Crown. He's got a fertile horse. Oh, good for him. A little bit of horse breeding there in the background. That's nice. What is that? Oh, blood of Charlemagne. Fair enough. Excommunicated. Oh, he's been a naughty boy and the Pope has kicked him out. Interesting. Do we want to take this healer? He is a renowned physician. He does have 15 learning and be a very, very good doctor. The best doctor our realm would ever see. But also, we are a wrathful, arbitrary man. We can't allow Catholics in our realm. Burn him. Excellent. Excellent. Good work. All right, well done. There was an opportunity to... Oh, he was the candidate. I was going to say we had some valid candidates there, but it turns out it was, you know, that guy we just burnt. History is a subject that's always fascinated you, and you've spent the last few weeks studying the campaigns of Alexander the Great. There are many lessons to be learned from his conquests in the East. Oh, cool. Student of strategy. We're not very good at learning or reading or anything like that, so... Hopefully we get the right outcome from here. We'll see how that goes. So let's rank up in our society. Oh, we can also duel this guy for honor. Remember we were giving this guy as a mission yesterday, but he was in prison. Let's see if we can duel him now. Duel Theodwin. He has 11 personal combat versus our currently mighty 74. Bring it. Theodwin. He has accepted our combat. That's surprising. The AI... I mean, all the decisions in this game are actually very, very clever. They'll assess all of the outcomes, all of the stats. They'll weigh up their personal combat versus yours. I'm actually kind of surprised he took that. There is always an element of randomness to it. A sparring match, then. To absolutely no one's surprise, as the duel begins, Gody Theodwin comes at me slowly. I offer him my best taunting smile, and it does not take long before I have seemed to injured him. I walk away victorious. We gain 15 prestige, we've wounded him, and more importantly, we complete the quest. Duel for honor. We're a bit of a black eye there. Did we take some damage? Looks as if we have, but we actually haven't. I guess it's his blood splattered on our forehead there. Very nice. So let's rank up. We've got 1006 renown now. We can use that on a duel to rank up. So certain societies only allow a certain amount of members at a particular rank. So we've got to duel someone above us to take their place as a warrior in the Wolf Warriors. After the duel, Gody Theodwin of Bremen asked for my advice on fighting. A little taken aback, I happily offered to train him on occasion. Today he thanks me for being a good teacher. And friend, he adds, dunking me on the back before he cocks his head in the direction of the sparring grounds. Again? Why not, brother? We became good friends with him, much like we became good friends with the guy who almost killed us with Mjolnir. That's quite nice. Oh, okay, so sorry, I'm getting confused here. This isn't a duel to rank up. Certain societies have that. I know that Marl's Orders of Chivalry, so these ones here have that mechanic. I don't remember with the Wolf Warriors so much. It might be just the highest rank that has that. It's been a long time since I played CK2. But it is my privilege. Alpha, a hero, which is the highest rank in our society here, has agreed to advance us in the Wolf Warriors. So we are now Warrior. We get some fancy new armor there. You can just kind of see it. But again, more importantly, we get Warrior training, so we can right-click on our guy. And when we get enough Renown, 300, which we can't be far off, we get a Commander trait. So I actually might wait to go raiding until we've got that, because it shouldn't take us too long to get there. 15.2 monthly because of our martial score. We're grievously scarred. We're wrathful now, and of course Berserker too. I've thought that Guthroder to be a more reasonable man. His request to be allowed to duel his rival was slightly erratic. Guthroder claims to be constantly subject to affronts from his rival. Who is your rival? Do we know that? He doesn't say. Alright, I'll allow the duel. As long as he's not killing another elder. Well, I mean, as long as he's killing another elder, as long as he doesn't get killed as an elder. That will look bad on us, huh? Watching Captain Thorfinn of the Swedish band in training grounds is always interesting. There's something about his fighting technique that comes off as half-hearted, and his weapons, as well as armor, seem they could use a little more caring for. Thorfinn, could I have a word? I interrupt the sparring. Let's talk weapon care and etiquette, my good man. Or we can shirk out of our duties as a wolf warrior. And as a warrior, determined by a backstory here, I think we have a duty to uphold. Let's talk about it. It's up to him whether or not he accepts our request. Captain Thorfinn agrees that he needs my help. In order to make him see things differently, I've asked my quartermaster to let us spend some afternoons organizing the armory. I admit, this year's spring cleaning is overdue anyway. I'll bring my sharpening rock. I'll make a show of how invested you are in this endeavor. We'll lose 15 gold to buy a sharpening rock, basically. There is a 25% chance that we gain proud. And I think our guy would be proud based on that backstory rolled. Or, let's not get carried away. We become humble. No. Spend the 15 gold. We have a lot of gold right now, actually. On our sharpening rock. Oh, that couldn't have worked any better. Hail warrior. Rumors are that there are great spoils in the wars of Finnmarku tribe. The adjacent province we were going to raid. The guy who already hates us because we took his wife as a concubine, don't forget. Waiting to be conquered by a daring raider with enough grit and ambitious. Ambitious? Ambition. I know how the English language works. You don't need to worry about that. Fantastic. My fellow member of the Wolf Warriors and I have finally done organizing the armory. I'm not sure it's what he had in mind, and he was clearly overwhelmed. Perhaps I expected too much. He seems mostly agitated in the end. He gains the trait slothful. Well, we tried to help him, Thorfinn. Typical lazy Swede, am I right? Sorry, any Swedish people. Look, you know I had to take it. It was the low-hanging fruit. A wife is pregnant again, speaking of low-hanging fruit. She can't get enough of it. Wowee, okay. 5 prestige. That's kind of a surprise given that she fucking hates us. Okay. Well, we should have enough now to go for our commander training, right? So let's go warrior training. As a member of the Wolf Warriors, you are becoming familiar with their training and what they value. Make gain a commander trait to reflect this, lose 300 renown. And now we've gained the trait fearsome. Odin would be proud of you, King Alpha tells me, wiping the sweat from his brow, reminding me that the sparring match has gone on longer than planned. Cocking his head, the man concludes, you were good at this, my friend. Thank you, Alpha, that means a lot. We gain the trait fearsome, giving us 25% to our heavy foot troops. So heavy foot troops not only mean like troops in armor, berserkers count as heavy foot troops because they are kind of devastating on the battlefield. We also gain an increased chance of capturing enemy commanders. That is very, very good. Enemy commanders tend to be, especially in like Catholic states, for example, tend to be nobles, people who are trained in that. If we capture them, we can ransom them off for a fortune, or we could execute them for a lot of piety. My concubine is pregnant, but I was away, wasn't I? That's true. We have been leading troops since I raised our army the first time. Besides doing some Wolf Warrior stuff, we have technically been away. Doubt besets me. Does she have any lovers? Not as far as I know, but she is Finnish. We did capture her from Finnmark. There's a possibility that Chief, I don't know how you say his name, Ailu of Finnmarku could have got some diddling in there. He is lustful after all. Doubt besets me. Okay, we'll keep an eye on that one. Maybe don't legitimize any kids out of her. Let's get to raiding. Let's put a commander on our flank there. But we don't have enough troops to really warrant that anyway, to be honest with you. We haven't got enough troops to make up a full army composition here. We've got center, we've got a left flank, we don't have a right flank because we don't have any other units because we've only got the 2 counties here. So these troops making up the center, these troops making up the right flank, and that's pretty much all we can do, unfortunately. But should be more than enough. I've thought it over. I can't be the father of my concubine Irene's baby. As it grows in her belly, I have trouble sleeping. Let's put this matter to rest. Hire someone to find out, or I trust her word. To be honest, neither of those options is true. I just don't think we would care. So we're going to say we trust her word. Because honestly, we don't care, to be honest. I had thought that Olaf to be a more reasonable man. He also wants to duel, so we'll go ahead and allow that. I won't bother repeating entirely events that we've seen before here. What we really need is a son. Because there is no way we are ever going to get a daughter to be our heir and successor. We can change our succession laws, though. If we got really desperate, we could try and push the vote for succession by gavelkind. Gavelkind is where the titles are split equally amongst children, with your primary heir taking the main title, basically. But everybody gets something. So it's not ideal at all. But it's better than what we've got right now, which is our heir being someone who's completely unrelated to us. That would be a game over, to put it into perspective. So we need to be very careful about that. Let's go loot some Finnmark gold. Oh, somebody died. Bothilda. She was our seeress. That's very, very, very rude of her. We could make our wife a counselor. Which, to be honest with you, I think is ill-advised, given that she hates us. Hate minus 100, rival minus 100. Do we really not have anyone better? Maybe we could try and hire someone. Let's go for invite a holy man to court. That costs us 25 piety, so that's very, very expensive. It's a quarter of our total piety right now. Saemunda of Bulavano. He does have 11 learning, so he's better than nothing. He's also a theologian too, so that's actually not bad. We'll employ him instead. And you can employ anybody as long as they're your religion, basically. Saemunda, welcome. Let's get you building zeal in the capital for us, giving us a bit more piety. Yeah, you can do your duel, whatever. Let's do some raiding. You can also do... A lot of people asking for permission to duel there. Shouldn't take too long to knock these walls down. Oh! You have a new heir. If your character dies, you play as Hjalmar. Hjalmar Warmson. Holy shit, and he randomly got the trait comely. This character is pleasing to the eye. Attraction opinion plus 10. That means that characters that he is attracted to, or I should say that are attracted to him, gain plus 10 opinion by default. Obviously very good for wives, lovers, maybe female rulers. Very, very good there. Wowee. And a son. A legitimate son born to our wife as well, so he is not... Children of concubines are kind of frowned on a little bit. It's not too bad, but certainly a son born by your actual wife is a lot better. Hjalmar. That's a good, strong Norse name. Let me think here. Hjalmar Warmerson. I guess it would really depend on his backstory a little bit. But for the time being, Hjalmar. That's difficult, isn't it? I wish I could remember the name of the guy who had Mjolnir. In fact, we can find out if we... Oh, God, look, Saxony have conquered Denmark and Sweden. King Hrurka the Moaner of Saxony. Oh, no. What happened is Denmark conquered Saxony and formed the kingdom. Interesting. Okay, so if we go to the artifact, I'm pretty sure we can see the history of it, can't we? Am I thinking of Crusader Kings III? I really don't remember, in hindsight. I have absolutely no clue whatsoever. It doesn't really matter too much. I wish I could remember his name, though, because I'd like to name it after the guy we fought in the first episode. For the time being, then, we can read... Oh, it was Gandalf. No, it wasn't Gandalf. He was our physician who got mangled. You know what? I'm going to call you Gandalf after that physician that got mangled, unfortunately. The rumors were true. The whole of Finnmark tribe was filled with treasure, but unfortunately we weren't able to grab that relic that I kind of had my eye on there a little bit. We are looting. Kind of that much gold, right? And you can see how much gold you can loot by the loot bar right here. 0.6 gold. It's really not worth it. It'll cost us more to pay for our troop upkeep than we will make gold from that one. We had another son named Hawker. I don't like that. Thorbrander, that's pretty good. Kesselmund, Grimmer, Dag, Hemming. These are all good names. Trigger, that's a good name. We're going to go for that one for now. We can rename these characters whenever we want because of a mod that we've got there. So if anyone's got any good suggestions, I know a couple of patrons have already said, hey, can I have a name in that? Absolutely. No trouble at all. There'll be plenty of characters for everybody to rename. And when eventually we get vassals and things like that, happy to throw a few houses to people here and there. So if you've got any suggestions, I'm sure we'll have absolutely plenty of room. It's the best part about CK2, there's always plenty of room for everybody. Trigger Warmer Son. What a fucking great name. So why don't we take Gandalf? It's not normally advisable to immediately pick an education focus for them. He's a baby. His personality might develop to be one that doesn't favor warfare. But I'm going to pick that one anyway. Because that's what our character would do, right? He would say, oh, my son is destined to be a warrior or whatever. So I'm alright with that. Did that work? Oh, there you go. Now it's worked. And then our other child as well, we will educate in warfare too. Let's throw both of them. We're going to assign a guardian. And of course, Warmer himself would take over that education, I think. Let's get rid of you. Sorry, wife. Not today. And there we are. We can now see that Warmer is educating both of those children. And I think that's a pretty good place to leave it. I genuinely thought loading in today we might be faced with a game over. But not only have we not got a game over, we've ended up with a very, very powerful character. 33 martial, 81 personal combat. There's a lot of luck has gone into that. And 2 sons. We've pretty much guaranteed that this dynasty will live on for another day. So thank you for watching. I think it's a great point to leave it. We'll start booming a little bit. We'll see if we can do some conquering next time. Maybe start work on forging out a slightly larger realm for us now that we've got the dynasty sorted. Now that our guy isn't going to die and he's really started to come into his own as a warrior. And then who knows where we'll go from there. See you all next time.